the hardest value that you found to live up to?
Maybe listen and obey the first time.
Okay, cool.
Welcome to Shoots&Roots, a practical video series that explores the joys and challenges of raising diverse kids through the different seasons of their lives.
So, I've been thinking about how to introduce this one, and I thought about Oma Pippi. So, Marlise had a grandma, Dorothy Hepzibah Greiling. We called her Oma Pippi for short. Had a big character, like massive personality, vivacious, wears fake furs in summer and strings of pearls, and a hat and short auburn hair gelled with wax, Vaseline,
Vaseline, yes.
shoe polish, whatever she could find, you know. And the ones we arrived at the retirement village, they lived in a flat that had the complex gardens in front of them. And as we get there, you can see that somebody made a design out of round flower beds cut out into the lawn and then abruptly stopped. Like you could see there was a plan to go all the way in a semicircle, and they're all the size of what I think was her garden furniture table.
Yeah, the round top.
Okay, remember?
Yeah.
And she wanted to have like a collection of round flower beds with rose bushes in them, because that was Pipa.
And what people wanted, people got.
Wait for. And like, you know, impetuous, I think would describe her.
Yeah.
And I was like, so Oma, why did it stop? And she's like, don't mention the war. I mentioned it once, I think I got away with it. But what had happened is that on her merry way to create round cut-out flower beds in the complex gardens, the complex manager arrived and said, not a stitch further, Piba. And he came and he brought the rules of engagement, and he brought the boundaries. And he said, not your garden. You are not allowed to do that.
She was not happy with him.
Completely disappointed and overwhelmed that he would dare stop her creativity. And I thought, similar to that, we have a diverse family.
Yeah.
Like 6 children, unique in gifting, in talents, physical ability, physical attributes,
personalities,
temperaments.
Yeah.
I think from a psychological point of view, I could probably write my thesis just using my kids as my material. Extroverts, introverts. And we need rules of engagement to keep that diverse group of people in one culture moving forward towards the purposes of God. And similar to the complex manager, we have rules of engagement. We have boundaries. To stop the garden from that plant taking over that one space and somebody else just overgrowing that, or not allowing the other one to be rooted and properly grounded, you know. What do we call them?
Values. Family values.
How many do we have?
13.
That's right. But they are the things that give shape and protection, boundaries, safety and security to how we do our garden. And I think from our point of view, it brought us onto the same page but it brought our kids the security to know that there will be a consistency in how we engage even with them. Because you don't want to be this impetuous, erratic gardener who just fights today for this and tomorrow for that. But it did give us some boundaries of what to go for and how.
Absolutely.
Where did we find the values then?
Sure. Trying to think. I think in some of the parenting courses that we did in our early years of parenting, I remember one that we did where they spoke about family values and how important it is to have values within your own family and what that means for you. And we really took that to heart. We were like, we want to have family values. We want to know that these are the boundaries and the structures for our family. And I think that it helped us so much also, even when we didn't have as many kids, but also now having so many children. Sometimes there's just so much that you have to think of and bat. And I found that family values gave us the ability to say, okay, what is really important? What are the battles that we're going to pick?
Non-negotiables.
What are the non-negotiables? And if you narrow it down to your family values, I think it really helps you not to get lost in the morass of parenting and am I doing it right and are we targeting the right things at the right ages. But if you have your family values, no matter what age you are, whether you our age or Joy's age, who's like 6 years old, the family values are there and they protect you. And it's something that you can always go back to. It really streamlined parenting for us, I feel.
I remember now how we did things, and with grace before we had it. It was just you didn't know.
And then we had one.
You didn't know whether you had to discipline and correct for this thing, let that one go, or what is it like? It was like, I don't know. I think at that stage we ended up with round garden beds
everywhere
in the lawn, everywhere.
Yeah.
And nobody even came and stopped us. I think for me that thing was probably birthed in the Bible, where God says, He doesn't say, I put before you what's right and what's wrong. He says, I put before you what is life and what produces death, and I urge you, I plead with you, choose life.
Yeah.
Because our values are not a set of rules, but it's values that work towards making healthy decisions that will produce life and take you closer to the purposes of God in your character, so that He can release the gifting and the purposes in you. So for me, values were born probably at that stage. I think that's in, where is it? Genesis, Exodus, the beginning of the Bible, one of the origin books,
Yeah.
But what has been interesting though is the absolute application of that in a diverse family. And there I think sometimes we stuffed it. We missed it. When you have one child that responds this way to a value, and how you correct and enforce and discipline it, and you think, okay, well, this is the way to do it. And then you try it with the next one, but the next one is very different. And by the grace of God and the grace of our children, we were able to step back and say, sorry, stuff that one with you as an individual. The value is non-negotiable, but how it's been taught and enforced and the lesson learned, maybe we could have done that better. Give us a take two.
Yeah. And I think what was really important in that process as well is having our kids own the values of the house. Like you said, it wasn't just a set of rules that we brought to them, but we actually sat around our table one night and said, what do you think a value should be in this home? What is important to you as an individual? What do you think, what is value in family? And what is it that is important to you to bring to the table? And as we sat and discussed that, we are not holding them to our values or even to God's values. which we hope it's based in always. And I think we made pretty sure that we all agreed that it was the values of the Bible that we are living by.
Yeah.
But it was that we can say to them, when you are not living up to this value, it's not our value you're not living up to, it's your own value that you're not living up to. It's what you chose and said is important in this family that you're not living up to. And that for me was such a helpful thing, because then you see the ownership of the values within them.
But it also gave us a corporate identity, almost as a family. When these values are on display, you know that you are in the presence of a mayor.
Yes.
And it gave them a sense of belonging, as much as it gave them a sense of security and protection.
Yes.
It also helped us to just pick which ones we're going to discipline on. Because otherwise, I think in a big family like this, and the diversity of it, you can easily discipline morning to noon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easily correct from morning to noon. But then sometimes that also gave space to just let them be kids that are learning, trying life, childishly irresponsible.
Yes.
And not willfully defiant.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is one of the ones where I felt I could have done better. But it's not a waste.
Absolutely. And I feel it's something that we've learned is something that is organic in its nature. Even though our values are set, it's something that we can keep going to and saying, okay, like you said, like this value is hard for this one to grasp. How do we help them to grasp that value? Not enforcing.
It also gave us points of connection.
Yes, absolutely.
In the diversity.
Yes.
In sitting with them and engaging them and getting to know them. So, yeah, definitely.
So I think for some of them it was if I think of Ava, she's quite a logical child. So if you appeal to her logic with the values that we have, it's like she grasps it so much better. And then if I think of someone like
Jude,
yeah,
it's the heart appeal.
It's the heart appeal. You just have to, it's the way you are saying it to them and presenting it to them, where they say, yes, I want to take this value and I want to run with it.
What with Iris, it's leadership.
You can be the president if you follow these values.
And it's different from rules, because rules says if you do this, you've broken the rule. But values give you the space to make a mistake and say, what was the heart intent behind it? And it brings grace.
Yes. And life and death, in the biblical concept, I think it always leads back to the heart. It doesn't lead to the actual action and, oh, did you do it right or did you do it wrong? Was it perfect or imperfect? What was your heart's intention? Because at the end of the day, that is what God judges. He judges the intention of the heart. And if our heart's intention is the value of this home, I want to choose life. Keep choosing life.
And I made a choice. It didn't work out in line with their values. There's grace to say sorry.
Yes.
Because it wasn't malicious.
Exactly.
It wasn't intended. So I think maybe that it was our friends Graham and Bev Powell that took us through this. So shout out if it was you guys. Thank you so much for what you taught us.
Sure, so much.
So much. You're
amazing.
We feel the love on that one. But yeah, again, an interesting journey, a busy journey, but rewarding.
Very rewarding.
To see our kids.
And it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not a destination. I think we put ourselves in a very awkward position as parents where we really demotivate ourselves if we think we're going to arrive at any point. We won't. We have to keep adapting as our children grow in themselves and in God.
I think the difficulty was when they started calling us to order on not living up to some of the values.
And
like
I love
speaking
that.
The truth in love.
Yes, but
I'm all
I
about
love
speaking
that.
the truth.
But the love.
The love sometimes was missing.
Yeah.
And when they start to live those values to the point where they own it and they can say, but you have not done that. So, yeah. Anyway.
High five.
High five. This is still a journey for us and we still love it. So let's see where this leads.
Absolutely. Hashtag?
Own your values.
Own your values.